Get into the action all summer long. Listen to that. Summer.
Woo!
The season's over. The NHL season's over. The NBA season's over. But there's still lots happening at Sports Interaction, including we got the draft coming up. We got free agency coming up for both of those sports, plus tennis, golf, whatever it is you're into, baseball, all happening right now at sportsinteraction.com/SDPN.
You can bet on those things. You can bet on free agency and draft.
Exactly. And we're going to actually throw a bunch of props up in the Dangle's Doozy section as well. And remember, everything's you can do before games, live and play all summer long. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN or download the app to get started. It's 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Now, let's talk about Blake Wheeler.
Let's talk about Blake Wheeler. So, SDPN reports from last night.
By the way, you should start putting that in your tweets if you're going to break news.
Yeah, well, I want to make sure I'm right first.
Okay. Fair enough.
This one I'm pretty confident on. I know with Steve Stais had jumped the gun a little bit. I still think that'll end up being right. But anyway, Blake Wheeler. I've been told he's played his last game as a Jet.
Okay.
How that comes to fruition, I don't know. I wasn't given confirmation he's going to get bought out or traded. Darren Dreger this morning reported there's some trade interest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't doubt that. He's not a bad player, but 8.25 is ridiculous. Now, if the Jets were to buy him out, they would save cash. I don't remember the amount of cash, but his cap hit would be, instead of 8.25 for 1 year, it'd be 2.75 for 2. That's pretty good savings this year and next. Gives you a little bit of flexibility with what you can do retooling your team. Mark Scheifele, Connor Hellebuck are the two big names that come to mind there. And any flexibility is good. If you're big into the rumor mill for what happens with Blake Wheeler next, his offseason home is in Florida. And the coach who made him captain for a number of years was Paul Maurice. And I thought about it, and I've been critical of Blake Wheeler and the way he plays and defense and everything. Florida? I think that's a pretty good fit.
A lot of questions about how he is, and he's addressed them to the media several times in the dressing room.
Yeah, but he's going to walk into a dressing room, which I think is different. The Jets locker room is his. Florida, he'll be walking into one, and he'll have to adapt or die. You know
but Paul Maurice is probably sick of the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the guy who wants that Winnipeg to come back to him.
Like he's the only coach that fired his team.
Like, I don't know if you've
what
ever
other
been
resignation
to Sunrise,
have you
Florida.
seen?
It ain't Winnipeg.
Mid-season, the guy was like, "Get me out of here."
Yeah, I've just heard they're really tight.
Okay, question for you, General Manager Jesse. Okay, so you're in this NHL 23 scenario.
Okay,
you are the general manager of the retooling Winnipeg Jets.
Okay,
do you buy out Blake Wheeler's contract? It will save you $2.75 million, but cost you $5.5 over the next 2 years. So $2.75 million against the cap each year, but the actual money saved is $2.75 million.
Oh, yeah. Okay? It's so easy. The math, like when you put that out there and everybody did the buyout calculator stuff, you're like, why wouldn't they do this? You know, that's $6 million that you're saving. It makes so much sense.
But you could take this year. You're probably going to trade Connor Hellebuck. You're probably going to look at trading Mark Scheifele if you can't get him on an extension. Do you this year go, okay, we'll eat the $8 million. Can we find a taker at $4 million for Blake Wheeler, right? Give him to another team. Don't get much back. Maybe you get a 5th round pick or something like that. Let's say that's what it is. Usually they give you a 5th round pick and future considerations, right? Do you just take the cap hit for the year that you're expecting not to be good and then be cap clear for when it jumps probably 5 to 7% next year?
I just don't know if that scenario's out there.
Can you do that deal this week? You know, can you do that deal at the draft? Can you do it prior to free agency or during free agency? If that deal's out there to get assets back, then yeah, you'd take the assets over the just losing the guy.
It
could happen as soon as today. Like they got to make a decision.
This is okay.
Yeah.
This is
so
the guy.
If the trade's out there, that you make the trade.
You're telling me a 55-point guy isn't worth $4 million to a team? A 55-point tough right wing guy who is 6'5" and 220 pounds of muscle. Forget all the criticism we've had.
No.
You're telling me he's not worth $4 million?
In a reduced role I'll use the Panthers again as an example. As in a reduced role, doesn't have to do as much in the locker room. Just rack up points on the top power play, second power play
For a Stanley Cup contender, because that's where he's going.
Yeah, and I kind of like him as a fit for the Panthers in that he likes to score and he's belligerent as hell.
And look at this playoff performer too: 65 total playoff games in his career, 45 points.
Blake Wheeler's got 0 career 30-goal seasons. I had no idea.
Yeah,
Actually?
Yeah.
Oh, he's playing.
close. He got close.
He hit 90 points. Didn't he?
Two times.
Twice. 91 twice. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
He's an assist king.
Yeah. So, I mean,
There's value.
there could
there.
be a taker out there.
There
but
has to be.
there's-
You'd be crazy not to.
But there's-
at $4 million.
Is a team able to take that on? And do the Jets want to take that on? Because they might not.
Well,
I'm not saying he's going to get bought out. I was told that's the most likely scenario, but a trade wasn't ruled.
Well, and in real dollars, it costs you less. Because I can go to Jets ownership and I could say, listen, it's either going to cost you $4 million or it's going to cost you $5.75 million. So which do you want it to be? Because I'll eat the cap this year. It'll cost you $4 million and then he's gone. But if we spread this over 2 years, it might be easier for you to pallet. But it is going to cost you $1.5 million or $1.75 million more to buy him out
now, what if you have to
in real dollars?
if you have to sweeten the pot along with retaining half?
I don't think you're going to have to.
For someone to take him? No.
I'm just saying, well, because draft picks cost money.
If Josh
Draft picks
Anderson
have a financial value.
if perennial underperformer, same type of player, Josh Anderson, and I like Josh Anderson, I just want him to put his shit together and be more consistent. If he can be traded at $5 million, I don't understand, and I understand he's 10 years younger than Blake Wheeler. Blake Wheeler still played 72 games last year, and he's going to be 37 by the time the year starts. He's an August 31st born baby. But this is a guy like Pavelski showing you can. Everything that I've seen for Blake Wheeler goes to show he's good for 50 points. That's all you need.
He's just overpaid. He's overpaid.
I don't know.
Not
To
bad.
me, the pitch to ownership is we should try to trade him. And I think
If you're 31 other teams, do you not sit there and say, hey, let's not make a deal with the Jets because in a week we can just sign him?
That's probably what's going on. And is there a team out there desperate enough for a player like Blake Wheeler that they go, screw it?
They want to jump the line.
Jump the line and they
Yeah.
make the deal. But
That's what you're banking on for the Jets, is that in the GM group chat, everyone isn't like, LOL, shovel day off. We'll just sit here and wait, and you have to buy him out, and we can get him for just the money.
it all comes back to he's played his last game as a Jet.
Yeah.
He gone. He's done.
I wonder how he feels about that. Do you think he's probably ready to move on?
Yeah. There's anecdotally, I've heard from other sources, like basically it sounds like he's mentally prepared for this. And like, this is not going to come as a surprise to him. It's not going to come as a shock. He's seen the writing on the wall. Was Rick Bowness fired?
No.
Well,
I also look
there
at,
you go.
I look at that. Sometimes you're in a situation and you're there too long and it becomes toxic.
That might be what happened.
And maybe we see a different guy on a different team, and if he has to have less responsibility, and maybe he can just start to have fun again, right? Like the Panthers, like let's say it's the Panthers. Panthers are so much fun,
Well,
and he could go and have some fun.
this isn't an apples to apples comparison, but the Leafs tried to build a team around Phil Kessel, and it didn't really work. And they weren't able to surround him with talent, etc. XYZ. Then they send him to Pittsburgh. He wins back-to-back cups. And he won another in Vegas. You can throw an asterisk on it if you want. Whatever. He's got 3 rings. Maybe Blake Wheeler with reduced responsibilities is a sort of similar situation where he can help you. Like, again, using the Panthers as an example, like, who's going to have a bigger impact on your roster? Eric Stahl at this point in his career, or Blake Wheeler? It's Blake Wheeler. He's probably going to cost you a little more. Probably a lot more. Anyway, he's done in Winnipeg, and if they're going to make the transition or retool that they want to make, they have to close the book